In that cross-legged position, just allow your hands to come wherever they're comfortable. Palms can be face up or face down. Spine is nice and long, and eyes come to a gentle close or a gentle gaze out in front of you. Let your belly be its full, free self, and just begin to track your natural breath in and out of your nose. And see if there's any place where you can make that breath a little bit more expansive. Filling in any areas of tightness, or filling in any areas that your breath just seems to skip as you inhale and exhale. And just continue that natural breath. Today's practice will focus on the ideas of effort and ease. So that idea of allowing ourselves to use our power and energy while at the same time letting our body be its natural self, letting it settle into poses, and knowing when that effort, that power isn't going to serve us. So feel free to skip or modify any poses. And take a few more inhales and exhales here, letting your body fully surrender to the breath. And on this last round of breath, see if you can unfurrow the space between the brows, unlock the jaw, and maybe fill the heart just a little bit more. And then bring the hands to heart center, eyes can still be closed, and begin to rub the palms vigorously together. So building that heat, building that effort and energy, feel it between the palms. And then gently place those palms over the eyes. Feel that energy, that heat that you've built. And flutter the eyes open within the hands, taking in the light in the room. And on the next inhale, release the arms up and overhead. Gaze can follow gently. And then as you bring the arms out to the side, cactus the arms, draw the shoulder blades together. Inhale the arms up and overhead, gaze can follow. And exhale, cactus the arms, draw the elbows back slightly to bring the shoulder blades together. One more time, inhale the arms up and overhead. And exhale, cactus the arms. And then just bring the fingertips down by the sides. Press the fingertips into the mat so that you're sitting up nice and tall. Roll the shoulders back slightly, bringing the shoulder blades together. And then make sure that the shoulders aren't hugging up to the ears, but rather they're relaxed, at ease. And just look over that left shoulder. Still pressing into the fingertips. And then drop the chin down toward the chest. And then look over that right shoulder. Drop the chin down toward the chest. One more time to each side, look over the left shoulder. Chin is parallel to that shoulder. And then chin comes back to center. And look over the right shoulder. One more time, drop the chin down toward the chest. See if you can let go of a little more tension as maybe you feel the stretch in between the shoulder blades. And then slowly bring the gaze back to center. Inhale the arms up and overhead. And then find those fingertips out in front of you. Press into the fingertips, root down into your sits bones. And then walk your hands a little bit further out in front of you. Maybe use that breath to bring you just a little bit lower. And once you find the spot where you want to stay for a couple of rounds of breath, let yourself surrender into this pose. Find the ease in this pose. And I find this pose is a good example. It's not until I spend a couple of breaths here that I really find my hips finding themselves in the right place, that I can let go of the effort and actually find the joy and the comfort here. And then wherever you are, come back up onto your fingertips if you aren't already. And then round through the spine to rise back up. Head rises last. Look forward. Inhale the arms up and overhead, and just switch that cross of your legs. Or if you're on your knees, you can stay right there. Once again, gaze goes up. And this time, as you exhale, twist over to the left. Right hand finds that left knee, really twisting through the belly and using the left hand as a kickstand behind you. Inhale the arms up and overhead and twist over to the other side. One more time to each side at your own pace. When you find the twist, just notice the twist through the belly. And we'll meet back in the center with the arms up and overhead. And then once again, find the fingertips out in front of you. Root down through the sits bones. And then if you'd like to, you can walk your hands a little bit further out. Once again, using that breath to help you settle in and find the ease and comfort in this pose. And come back onto the fingertips. And then begin to round through the spine, dragging the fingertips back in. Gaze rises up. And then just bring the legs out to one side, move yourself into a tabletop pose. Take a couple rounds of cat-cow here. Inhale to drop the belly, lift the gaze, and exhale to round the spine, drop the crown of the head. Take a couple more at your own pace. Feel free to hold in any spot that feels good. And the next time you come into cow, really press into those palms and press the belly down toward the mat. So breathe into the belly to feel it stretch and extend. And then on the next exhale, round through the spine, press into the palms once again. Feel the shoulder blades separating. Feel the back doming. And then come back to that neutral spine. Send the right leg long behind you and flex through the toes. So the right leg is coming straight out of the hip. Press into the right palm as the left arm comes up. So we'll find this static bird dog here. Really pressing out through the fingertips and out through the heel. See if you can tuck that tailbone just a little bit, getting some of the rounding out of the spine. And we'll hold here for 5 rounds of breath as we activate the core. You should feel this in your glutes too. On the next exhale, bring the elbow and knee to meet, really rounding through the spine once again, just like we did in that full cat pose. We'll hold this for 5 rounds of breath. Really round in. And then re-extend. And we'll bring those both together, taking 5 rounds of elbow to knee. So as you exhale, elbow to knee, inhale, extend. Exhale to meet. Inhale, extend. 3 more. We'll meet with arm and leg extended for just another round of breath. And then bring it back to your tabletop. Rock the hips from side to side. So we'll move to the other side. Send that left leg long behind you. Really flex through the toes here. And then root down into the left palm as the right arm comes out in front of you. So find your stability. Take that little round out of the spine, and we'll stay here for 5 rounds of breath. And on the next exhale, bring the elbow and knee to meet under the body, really rounding in. And then re-extend. And we'll take a round of those 5 bird dogs here. So exhale, elbow and knee meet. Inhale to extend. 4 more. And then keep the arm and leg out. And then bring it back to tabletop, rock it from side to side. And we'll take a couple more moves here in this tabletop pose. So once again, extend the right leg long behind you. This time, points through the toes. So back of the knee, back of the thigh are facing the ceiling. And then really rooting down into the palms. You can even walk them out 1 handprint here if you want a little bit more of a challenge. And then as you exhale, bring the knee to the upper arm and extend. And knee to right elbow and extend. And knee to wrist and extend. We'll do 1 more round of that on this side. Knee to upper arm and extend. Knee to elbow and knee to wrist. And just keep it in extension behind you. repositioning in any way that you need to. Now we'll twist under the body doing the same moves. So right knee to left upper arm and extend. Right knee to left elbow and extend. And right knee to left wrist and extend. One more round of that on your own. And we'll meet with that right leg extended behind. And then just bring it back to the mat. Once again, rocking the hips from side to side. So we'll do the same thing with the left leg. Hopefully you notice that we're working the abs here. Send that left leg long behind you, toes are pointed, working the obliques. And bring that left knee to the left upper arm. And extend. Left knee to left elbow. And extend. And left knee to left wrist. And extend. One more round of that on this side. And then re-extend that left leg long. And we'll twist it under the body. So left knee to right upper arm. Trying to keep the rest of the body pretty steady and stable. And then left knee to right wrist. And extend, and we'll take one more, twisting under, knee to right upper arm. Knee to right elbow. And knee to wrist. And when you're done with your round, just extend that left leg long behind you. Press into the palms and come back to tabletop pose. Take a round of cat-cow. If you walked your hands out, bring them back in so they're under your shoulders. And then bring the toes together, knees wide, opening the hips up a little bit more in this child's pose. Keep it active by sending the arms out long in front of you. Keep the elbows off the mat. Palms are pressing into the mat. And then walk the hands back in. Come back in a tabletop for just a round of breath. And then tuck the toes, hips nice and high, downward facing dog. And find yourself in stillness here. We'll spend 3 rounds of breath here. Notice where the effort is in your body and where you can find a little more ease. And then bend the knees deeply, send that belly back to the thighs, get in your pouncing position and hop to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift, exhale, forward fold. Sweep the arms out, up and overhead, gaze can follow, energy out the fingertips. And exhale, hands come through heart center and arms come down by the side. Nice. So press into that right foot as the left leg comes up into a 90-degree angle. So straight out of the hip, arms still by the side. Put a tiny bend in that right leg and then sweep the arms up and overhead. So tuck the tailbone slightly, just making sure that it's pointing down toward the ground. And then really activate the abs. So you might want to just place a hand on your core for a second, just to make sure that the power is really coming from the core, not really like your leg, even though of course your leg is holding you up too. So energy out of the fingertips, tailbone is slightly tucked, core is engaged. And then open up, arms out into a T over to the left. Feel the twist through the belly. And then sweep it back to center, arms up and overhead. And place that right foot down, left foot down, arms sweep down by the side. We'll move to the other side. Press into the left foot. Right foot comes up to a 90-degree angle. Tiny bend in that standing leg. Sweep the arms up and overhead. If you want to bring a hand to the core again, tuck the tailbone, make sure that core is engaged. Stand up nice and tall. And then from the core, twist over to the right, arms open in a T. Just holding here for a moment. And then sweep it back to center. From here, leg goes down and sink down into chair pose. So we're gonna move from side to side from this chair pose to those standing 90-degree angle twists. So press into your right foot, left foot rises, twist from the core, arms out in a T. Come back to center, sit back down into your chair. Press into the left foot, right foot rises. Engage your core as you twist, opening up the arms. Take a couple more rounds of this. Back to center, back to chair. So move at your own pace from side to side, alternating legs. Make sure that core is engaged before you move. And then finish the round that you're on, and then take one more full round. So to the left and to the right. And we'll meet back in chair pose when you're done. Beautiful. Sink just a little bit deeper. And then straighten the legs, cactus the arms, bring those shoulder blades together. Gaze can go up. And then inhale the arms up overhead and find your forward fold. Let the head hang heavy. You can even grab opposite elbows. Sway a little bit from side to side. And then come back to center. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Step it back, downward facing dog. Hips nice and high to the sky. Hold here for 3 rounds of breath. And then float it forward into plank pose. Readjust the feet as you need to. And exhale it back into downward facing dog. Inhale it forward into plank and hold here. Begin to hover the right toes up off the mat. Feel that core engaged. And then twist under the body, bringing the knee to the left elbow. And back to plank, hovering the right toes. Knee to left elbow. Back to plank, hovering the right toes. One more time, knee to left elbow. And back to downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg back behind you. Exhale to step it through in between the hands. Slowly rise all the way up. Make sure the hips are pointing forward. And if the arms get tired, you can bring the hands to heart center. Bend through the right knee. Feel the opening in the heart, in the belly. And then sweep it open to warrior 2. So I am not mirroring you here, but make sure that that right knee is really bent. The back toes are parallel to the short edge of your mat. And the hips
are pointing toward the long edge of your mat. Sweep that right arm forward and flip the palm, hinging at the hips here. And then sweep that left arm up and over as if you're holding a big beach ball out in front of you. See if you can get just a little bit lower. We'll hold here for 3 rounds of breath. And then bring that beach ball up and overhead. And bend it back forward. Reach it up and over. And hinge at the hips. 3 more. Use that core. When you're done with your round of 3, send that beach ball back out in front of you. Roll the top shoulder back. And then reframe that right foot. Step it back to downward facing dog. Pedal it out here. We'll hold for 3 rounds of breath. And then rock it forward into plank pose. And back to downward facing dog. Forward to plank and hold. Hover the left toes off the mat. Left knee comes to right elbow and hovers back to plank. Left knee to right elbow. Hover back. 1 more. And then bring it back to downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg back up behind you. Exhale to step it through in between the hands. Once again, rise up to your high lunge. Feel the front of the body opening. And then sweep it open into warrior 2. So the left leg is really bent. Arms are nice and long. And we'll sweep that left arm forward, flip the palm. Right arm comes up and overhead to hold that beach ball. We'll hold here for 3 rounds of breath. And then let's move. Inhale up. Exhale, bend. 4 more. And then send that beach ball back out in front of you. Hold for just another breath. And bring the hands down to reframe the left foot. Step it back, downward facing dog. Hips nice and high to the sky. 3 rounds of breath. So we're holding these for 3 rounds of breath. See, maybe in a few rounds, you can find a little bit more ease here. You can shift the effort into comfort. And then rock it forward into plank pose. Lower down the knees. Find your cow back. And lower down the chest and chin, slithering forward into baby cobra, untuck the toes. Exhale to release. Bring the fingers out wide and come onto the fingertips for spider fingers. Zip up the legs behind you, point the toes. Press into the fingers, roll up, super cobra. And exhale, release. 2 more. Roll up, super cobra. And exhale, release. Last one. And then bring the palms back in, tuck the toes, come back through tabletop for just a moment, and then press it back, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg back up behind you. Exhale to step it through in between the hands. Rise up to high lunge, and then open it up, warrior 2. Once again, flip the right palm, left arm comes up and overhead, holding that beach ball. And we'll take 5 more of these. Inhale up, exhale bend. 4 more. And then when you're done, hold that beach ball out in front of you. And then rise up And send all 10 toes to face the side of the mat. Release the arms down by the side. Heels come in, toes out. And then sink it down into your goddess pose. Give the arms a break for a second. You can just let them hang, bring them onto your thighs, and sink a little deeper. Tuck that tailbone under. So the tailbone is facing down toward the ground. And then roll the shoulders up to the ears and back down. Roll them up to the ears and back down. And then one more time. Okay. And then bring the fingertips to come to the back of the head. And just begin to bend over to the left, hinging at the hips. And back to center. And over to the right. And back to center. Moving from side to side. This is a full body effort here, as you can tell from my quivering voice. So really just hinging at that waist, keeping the spine nice and long, and moving from side to side. And take one more to each side. Come back to center. Sink a little bit deeper, and then straighten the legs. Send all 10 toes to face the long side of the mat. And take your stance a little bit wider if you need to, like me, and then hinge at the hips, fingertips on the mat. Just let the head hang heavy. You can have a little bend in the knees. And then walk the hands to frame that right foot, releasing the left ankle, the left heel, and step it back, downward facing dog. And then inhale, that left leg back behind you, and exhale to step it through in between the hands. Rise up, high lunge, and then sweep it open, warrior two. We'll take those 5 beach ball rises on this side. So send that beach ball out in front of you. Inhale to rise, exhale to lower. 4 more. And then send it back out in front of you. Rise up. Send all 10 toes toward the long side of your mat. Let the arms go a little bit. And then once again, bring the heels in, toes out. Tuck the tailbone as you sink down into your goddess squat. So once again, just let the hands hang this time and draw the shoulders up to the ears and back. And up and back and up and back. Then sweep the fingertips behind the ears. Sink a little bit deeper into your legs. And once again, find those side movements. And take one more to each side. And come back to center. Release the arms, straighten the legs. All 10 toes face the side of the mat. Hinge at the hips, fingertips come down. Maybe rock those hips a little from side to side, bending one knee and then the other. Head is heavy. And then walk your hands back toward your left foot, reframing your left foot. Release the right heel. And step it back, downward facing dog. Float forward into plank pose. Lower down the knees, chest and chin, and float it forward into baby cobra. This time, as you lower down, we'll come back through child's pose. Toes together, knees wide. Let go of the effort from the past couple poses. You can find the ease here in child's pose. You can let the arms be heavy if you want to, or keep the elbows off the ground. Let the belly relax. And over the next breath or so, press yourself back into downward facing dog. And inhale the right leg back up behind you. Step the right leg to the outside of the right hand. So you're coming into this wide lunge here. And just hold here. Allow that left hip flexor to open. And then press it back into three-legged dog. Right leg goes nice and high. Once again, step the right leg to the outside of the right hand. And then step it back, three-legged dog. Last time, right foot to the outside of the right hand. And then step it back, three-legged dog. Staying on that right side, right knee comes over to left elbow. And release it back, three-legged dog. Two more of those. And then we'll take another one, bringing that right knee to the left elbow. Either hold here or kick it through into fallen triangle. And then one more breath. And release it back into downward facing dog. Pedal it out. And then roll forward into plank. Take a vinyasa of your choice. Meeting back in downward facing dog. From your dog, inhale the left leg back up behind you. Exhale to step it to the outside of the left hand. And then three-legged dog. Step it to the outside of the left hand. And back. And last one. And three-legged dog. And then from here, you'll bring the left knee to the right elbow. And back. Knee to elbow. And back. One more. And then we'll do one more. You can either stay here with your elbow and knee meeting, or you can kick that left leg through, find fallen triangle. One more breath. And then unwind and bring it back to downward facing dog. Take a child's pose or an optional vinyasa here, or just stay in dog. It's up to you. And over the next breath or so, come back into tabletop pose. Inhale to cow, and exhale to cat. Come back to neutral. From here, inhale the right arm out beside you, and exhale just to hover it under the left, not taking full thread the needle yet, but that's where we're going. Inhale the right arm out to the side, and exhale, float it under the left. One more time, inhale it out, and exhale this time, land it under the body. You can walk that left arm out, or take a half bind, or wherever it feels comfortable. Just stretching through the shoulders, giving them a little bit of a break. And if you've walked that left arm out, bring it back in. Unwind the right arm, floating it out to the side and back down to the mat. We'll do the same on the other side. Inhale the left arm out and exhale to float it under. Inhale it out and exhale to float. And this time you'll inhale it out, and as you exhale, land that arm underneath the right, finding your thread the needle on this side. Right arm goes wherever it's comfortable. Let yourself settle in. And walk that right arm back in. Unwind the left. And plant the left palm back down. Take another round of cat-cow. And then tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Take tiny steps toward the top of the mat. We're gonna bring everything together here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep the arms out, up and overhead. And then as you exhale, sink down into your chair pose. Press into the left foot as the right foot rises. Twist from the belly over to the right. Arms are nice and long. Inhale back to center. Sit back down into chair pose. Root down into the right foot. Left leg rises 90 degrees. Get steady and then twist from the core. Arms are long. Come back to center. Sink it down into chair pose. And then release into a forward fold. Plant the hands, stepping it back. Downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg back behind you. Exhale to step it to the outside of the right hand and lower that left knee for just a moment. Then bring that left knee back up off the mat. Release back into three-legged dog. Exhale to step the right leg in between the hands and rise up, high lunge. Sweep it open into warrior two. And once again, find your beach ball. Feel free to hold here or to take some movement. 5 rounds of breath or of movement. One more round. And then rise back up into your warrior two. Reverse your warrior, lengthening out the work we just did. And then cartwheel the arms down, framing that right foot, and kick it back into three-legged dog. Come forward into three-legged plank, so the right toes are hovering, and bring the right knee to the right elbow, and extend it back. Right knee to right elbow, and back. One more time, right knee to right elbow, and back. And then downward facing dog. Float it forward into plank and back into dog. Once again, 3 rounds of breath here. See if you can find some ease. And then tiny steps toward the top of the mat. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. Sweep the arms out and up. And then sink down into chair pose. Press into the right foot. Left foot rises 90 degrees. Twist from the belly, arms go long. Maybe smile a little bit. And then arms overhead, sink back in a chair. Press into the left foot, right foot rises 90 degrees. Twist over to the right. Arms back to center. And then back to chair pose. Fold forward into your forward fold. Plant the hands. Step it back into downward facing dog. As the left leg comes up and back, exhale to step it to the outside of the left hand. Drop the right knee down for just a moment. Toes can be tucked or untucked. And then right knee comes back up. Release back, three-legged dog. Exhale to step the left foot in between the hands this time. Rise up, high lunge. And then sweep it open, warrior two. So bend through that front leg. Flip the palms, find your beach ball. Once again, you can either hold for 5 breaths or take some movement. And then rise back up into warrior two. Reverse your warrior. And cartwheel the arms down to frame that front foot. Step it back, three-legged dog. And then rock it forward into three-legged plank. Left knee to left elbow. Release to hover the toes. 2 more. And then downward facing dog for 3 rounds of breath. And roll it forward into plank. Last optional vinyasa here. And it's always optional. Meeting back in child's pose. And then however you want to get there, find yourself on your back with knees bent toward the ceiling. Just ever so slightly tuck those shoulder blades underneath the body to keep the chest and heart nice and open. And then really tuck through that pelvis, making sure that the back is in full connection with the mat. From here, bring the legs up to 90 degrees. So you'll probably need to retuck that pelvis, maybe even scoot your tush down a little bit, and then flex through those toes. Let the upper body be relaxed. This is where the ease comes in. The effort's gonna come from the core. So slowly lower down one at a time, keeping the legs at 90 degrees, lower down the right heel toward the mat. Maybe it touches, maybe it doesn't, but you're engaging your core. And then use your core to bring that leg back up. And then the left heel goes down toward the mat. Really tuck that tailbone and back up. Move from side to side. And you can move as fast or as slow as you want, as long as your sacrum is in full connection with the mat. So this is our last bit of core work here. And then just take one more tap on each side. And hug the knees into the chest. And we're going to do another round of that with just a small variation. So once again, just bring the arms out of the way wherever they're comfortable. Bring the legs back to 90 degrees. This time, point through the toes. And tug the tailbone. And instead of the heel tapping, you'll just move the toes down toward the mat.
Let the movement come from the core. That core is really holding you steady here as you draw the sacrum down toward the mat. Finish the round you're on, and then take one more tap to each side. When you're done, you can hug your knees into your chest. Maybe give a little rock from side to side. And then bring the feet back to the mat and bring them as wide as the mat. Sweep the arms again out to the side. They can be in a T or in cactus. And rock the knees over to the right, gaze over toward the left. Bring the eyes to close, really reconnecting with the breath. Let the energy out of the fingertips so that they curl in toward the palms. Let the knees fall toward the ground. And let that belly release from all the work it did today. And over the next couple of breaths, bring the knees back to center and rock them over to the left as the gaze gently goes over the right shoulder. Let the neck relax and the hip flexors and the toes uncurl. Once again, bring the knees back to center whenever you're ready. And you can take any final pose that you'd like here, maybe drawing the knees toward the armpits or releasing into happy baby. Or if there's another twist that you'd like to do. And then whenever you're ready, release into Shavasana, the ultimate easeful pose. I've left several minutes at the end of this class for Shavasana because we really built a lot of fire today. So let your shoulders melt toward the mat. Relax through the upper arms and biceps and forearms. Relax through the wrists and fingertips. Release any tension in the neck and the jaw. Unfurrow between the eyebrows. And let the head be heavy. Release the glutes and the hips, the thighs and the hamstrings, the knees and the calves. And let the feet splay out. And use this pose just to clear the body and the mind. Bring your awareness back to your breath. And then take 3 deep inhales and gentle exhales. And you can send your arms long overhead, point through the toes. Take a nice big stretch. And then take any other movement that your body needs. Eventually rolling over onto one side. And whenever you're ready, rising up into a seat with hands at heart center. I really find that it's during these times of effort that when I'm able to stop, take a breath or 3, and find some ease, that I'm really able to find gratitude and joy. So I invite you today, when you take your yoga off the mat, to take a pause, take a breath, and find your ease, find your joy. And it is with gratitude that I thank you for joining class this morning. Namaste.